How's it going today, guys? Back in the studio, which is super welcomed. It is not 1,000 degrees in here. Today's topic of discussion, your dreams cannot have an expiration date. I think in life, all of us as individuals like to set certain goals, whether it's I want to become a millionaire by 30, I want to be in this role by 35, or I want to have this house and this lifestyle by this certain age. And I think that's something that is actually the most surefire way to assure you're not going to actually achieve it. I have a couple examples of this, but the first thing that actually prompted this was a DM that I got from a viewer. So once again, if any of you watching this ever have any ideas or questions or topics you want to see me discuss, don't hesitate to reach out because I would love to talk about anything and everything that you would like to see me talk about. So they had reached out and said, I'm X years old and I just feel like I haven't accomplished enough. And I asked, well, what do you feel like you should have accomplished by now? And they started laying out things and I asked, well, why do you feel like you should have accomplished it by this age? And then it led to, well, because this person, and this person, one of them being like, their peers, another being like, a celebrity or this and that, had gotten to that point, so they feel like they should have too. So first things first, and a little bit off topic, but never compare yourself against anyone else in anyone else's story or situation. I've done a video on this prior. I will probably link it in the description, but that is a fool's errand 6 ways from Sunday. Second is when you're looking at this from a 100,000 foot view. When you set a goal that you're going to hit by a certain age or a certain moment in time, I understand why people do it. I've done it myself. I want to hit these quarterly goals in business. I want to hit this number by the end of the year. Those are amazing goals to set because it keeps you working towards something. It keeps you with a North Star that you can work towards. But where I start to see it really deter people is when in the circumstance that they don't actually achieve it or don't reach it by that moment in time, it leads to a discouragement or it leads for them to quit. And this is where I think everybody just has it completely backwards. So I'll share a few stories of this. One, a personal one that I saw with a client once upon a time. A client had set a goal, actually similar to the one that I set for myself, that I want to grow 500% by the end of the year. This client had set a goal that they wanted to grow 250% in a calendar year. And they worked their ass off, they set the systems in place, and they did a tremendous job. And I think they grew, once again, I'm using arbitrary numbers, they grew like 125%, or basically 50% of a super high goal that they had set. They had hired a ton more staff, they were making a lot more money, the business was super profitable. It was like this amazing combination that so many people would literally die for. And when we had our year-end meeting, this individual was literally disappointed. Now, I don't mean in the sense of, oh man, like I know we still did well and I'm pumped, but I really wanted us to reach this goal. I mean, literally dead in the eyes, like pissed that that goal wasn't met. And the thing is, I understand it to an extent from an entrepreneur perspective, but it was so odd to me. So I obviously dove into that. It's like, well, why are you feeling that way? Why is this your outcome when this is something that you should still be super excited about? And I'm not saying you got to go, out and celebrate or party or throw something crazy, but like, why is your reaction to be negative? And he's like, why? Well, because when I set a goal, I have to see it. And when we started talking about like goals for next year, he was super discouraged in setting another goal. And I couldn't fathom how that could be the case. Like, I understand we set arbitrary goals and we set these things that we can work towards, but it can't be the end all. There can't be a quit if you don't reach it. So the second example I have of that, and it's not a direct correlation to a personal story, and it's more just a story of perseverance that I literally just recently saw yesterday that I thought could fit this topic. I was watching Barstool Pizza Review. It's something that as a family we watch pretty much every day, if not a couple times a week. And we decided to go all the way back and just watch them all, from beginning to current all the way through because we've kind of piecemealed it and just been watching the current ones. And going back and watching the first pizza review with Dave Portnoy, one, crazy to see how, much he's grown, but to see like the formatting, to see the recording, to see the way that he did it. The guy had a rookie score. He changed his score. And if you watch them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But like none of the things that he realistically today has as the foundation of his show, like the intros, the filming, the buzzwords, all of this stuff, none of it was in the first episode. He even went against all of his golden rules, as I just said. It was crazy to see. And I saw it as this uplifting video. Because even as I do content, I'm not getting hundreds of views on these. I'm not even getting tens of views on these. I'm getting like 10 to 15 views per video. And when I look back on those early videos, I can't imagine how many views he was probably getting, but also seeing the recording, quality and all that stuff was like, oh my gosh, that's literally wild that's where he was at. And now you see him at this level. And as I started watching those first few episodes, he was like, well, he started with like an initial challenge of rating two places against each other. He's like, well, I just thought maybe we'll keep doing it. And I keep thinking to myself, like, all of these different aspects of all of our careers and lives, actually, as it stands, it's nuts that if in that moment, say Dave Portnoy doesn't say, I'm going to keep doing it, or he didn't have that idea, like, well, I'll just keep doing it. I'll keep doing these reviews and just see where it goes. And a few times in the first few episodes, go and watch them yourself. He literally says, like, well, I don't know, maybe we'll just keep doing them and just see where it goes. To now, that's literally almost, for people that don't necessarily know Barstool, that's literally what people know him as. Like, you're the pizza review guy. And it was something that he literally started as a challenge and then just decided to keep doing and just did it because he enjoyed it. And that's going to lead into my final point, which is when you set arbitrary goals or you set these dates that you want to achieve things by, and just any goals in your life, I think it's really, really, really crucial to make sure that it's something that you enjoy doing, because then you're going to want it. You're not going to have that discouraged moment. So when I talked with that individual in my story that I personally worked with, we ended up kind of, going through and doing a deep dive. Obviously, I work more with my clients more than strictly just finance. And it kind of got to the point of, well, he didn't actually love that business. And he didn't actually, so his love for the business was just wrapped up in metrics. He didn't actually really care about the day-to-day operations. Maybe care is not the right word, but he wasn't, in love with the business. He just wanted to reach different metrics, and it was basically just a profit vehicle for him. If he didn't actually like doing pizza reviews, I'm sure he never would have done it after the initial challenge. And he wouldn't have kept doing it when they weren't doing anything at the beginning. If you look at the old channel that they were on, they still don't have comparable views to the ones that he currently puts out today. So it's nuts. I can't even imagine how little views he probably had when he first started, especially seeing the quality and, yeah, just overall, scope and structure of the content. So you have to make sure that you're going after something that you like, because then when you're setting arbitrary goals, you're still going to be proud of the progress that you make along the way, even if you don't reach them in its entirety. Because any progress along your journey should never have an expiration date, because that shows me that, you're not going after something you love, because something you love, it could take you a lifetime and you would just be thrilled to have had the opportunity to have an at bat and not been worried about all the different arbitrary steps that you may or may not have met along the way. So I hope this was valuable. As always, I very much appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.